Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you are having a great weekend, a great Saturday so far. Thought I would knock out this video a little bit earlier. I will be going to a football game tonight. The Gamecocks are playing Auburn here in Columbia, South Carolina, and that's where I live. So I'll be going to the game. Had an opportunity. Somebody gave me a few free tickets, so it's always cool when somebody looks out for you. And definitely had somebody on social media who did. So I will be attending that tonight. So that's why I'm making this video a little bit earlier. So I want to mention, in this video, there's a couple different new things to talk about over the next 5, 10, maybe 15 days. It looks like overall things are going to be a little bit cooler than maybe we initially thought. Now, I'm not talking about Arctic air in general, but for instance, an example would be Thanksgiving. It looks like maybe a lot of areas in the South were looking like 60s and 70s, and I definitely think areas in the South will see that, but it looks like maybe it'll be more closer to 50s and 60s, so more of an average Thanksgiving, as before it was looking like an above average Thanksgiving as far as temperatures. Now, I do think the actual day of Thanksgiving will be nice. As far as the system that we've been talking about all week, and I do want to mention thank you all for the big time success. My YouTube picked up a good bit of growth over the last week, and it's also always awesome to get new subscribers and everything and add new people to the family. We feel like this is a family atmosphere, and I do have a mission to get to 10K by the end of the year, which is a big, big goal of mine. So I just appreciate everybody who supports my channel. But as far as the storm and really the system I was talking about in all my videos throughout the week, it has since really not dwindled away. It's going to still be an impactful storm, but it's definitely not going to be big time as far as travel disruptions or anything like that. It's just going to be a normal storm system. So that is good news. The bad news is, I talked about it initially, like I thought it was going to be a big deal, but it turns out it's not. So I do apologize for anybody who, I guess, listened to the videos and, planned accordingly. I hope I didn't mess up any of y'all's plans, but it does look like, if you watch my last few videos, that I've been mentioning kind of the latest updates on it, that things are not going to be as crazy or anything like potentially could have been. So it looks like the storm gets its act together well off the coast of the Northeast. So, and even then, it doesn't even look that bad, but still impactful as far as weather, rain, and it will bring in an Arctic air mass and cold weather. So let's get going here, because there are some things to discuss for sure. So what we'll do here is we're going to take a look at the European model, and then we're going to take a look at the GFS model. And going forward here, what I'm watching here is there's a system at the end of the week. First off, here comes our system for the one that we've been talking about all week. It looks like you could see moisture from as far south as the Gulf of Mexico to as far north as southeast Canada, well past Canada, Maine. The thing is there's no cold air in place when this moisture moves through. This is moisture associated more of a fleeting cold front. It's a deep trough dig. It's not a wide trough dig. It's more of a big time dip. Narrow dip in the jet stream, and then it moves on. So it's basically just a sharp cold front that moves through, and along with moisture, there's nothing that really gets its act together. There could be a chance of some back end snow in parts of Maine with this system, but really I think the biggest event that this would be is the lake effect snow bands that potentially get fired off, some like Lake Erie, maybe a little bit like Michigan and Lake Ontario, but even then I don't think that's going to be a major lake effect snow event. Cool air behind it, but then it moderates. And then Thanksgiving, you got to watch this system right here. This is Thanksgiving morning, and this is a system I'm watching. It looks like another cold air mass comes down. That's the 32-degree line, and with it, it's trying to chase down this moisture. You have high pressure up here, so you still have some cold air deep down. So a chilly Thanksgiving morning, it almost looks like, to me, the cold air isn't going to be as intense for early next week, but it's going to be longer in duration. So it looks like there's going to be more cold mornings, but just not as cold mornings, if that makes any sense. So I do think Thanksgiving could be quite cold for areas of the interior southeast and the far eastern areas of the southeast and mid-Atlantic, waking up to sub-freezing temperatures. But it warms up quickly, and the system approaches. So as you get into your Black Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, here comes another system, and it looks kind of like the system a few days prior. So this is getting into Friday, November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, And this one looks like it has a little bit more cold air to deal with. And with that, maybe you're waking up with some rain or snow in the Ohio Valley. Higher elevations of the mountains, the southern Appalachian Mountains, could be seeing some snow. By Friday afternoon, maybe some snow in the higher elevations as far south as Tennessee and the mountains of North Carolina, West Virginia. And it looks like the cold air finally catches up with the moisture and might be a rain changing the snow kind of deal in portions of, Pennsylvania, New York State. But we got to watch because it's some things to figure out. But then you look a little further out. This is 160 plus hours out. This is getting into about a week out from right now. It shows some interior southern New England snows. So you got to watch that. And then you got another quick system that kind of moves through. So there's potential for an active active week altogether next week. The good news is, for the most people, there's going to be a break in the eastern U.S., and that break is going to be Thanksgiving, and where it looks like there's going to be nice weather on Thanksgiving Day itself. But before that and after that, still looks pretty active. And you got to watch out later in the run as you got more systems. But I don't see any real... Sorry, I had to pause the video real quick. The little girl jolted in the room. But anyways, y'all know how that goes. And people who've been watching my videos know that sometimes kids interrupt my video. But it's part of having kids, guys. But anyways, going through here, it looks like there's another system that moves through. But that's really far out for it to really even matter to talk about. The GFS, we'll run through that. Shows this system right here that we've been talking about for days. Nothing too crazy with it. It just looks like moisture associated with a big-time cold front. Notice this cold front, it's really fleeting. I've been using that word all week. Moves through, it's cold for a couple nights, a couple days, and then by Wednesday morning, high pressure settles off, and then it warms up, and then we're getting into Thanksgiving Day. It kind of shows that system also, and another reinforcing shot of cold air moves through. You see the 540 line, that's not 32 degrees at the surface, that's a loft. But this moves through, and it looks like a pretty chilly air mass settles in for next week, and I'll show you temperatures in a second. And but it looks a lot different. It does show that interior northeast snows for that system also for late next week. But after that, it looks like the latest GFS from 12Z looks like it's going to be pretty cold next weekend as we round off our last weekend of Thanksgiving. But we got to see what's going on here. That gets pretty far out. It's really hard to tell exactly what's going to happen. So let's look at temperatures. Now I'm going to go through this run. Now we're getting into Monday morning. Here comes our Arctic air mass. You got 20s, teens, single digits in far north areas of Minnesota. These are around high temperatures as far as Monday. Look at the 40s, the 30s as far south as Tennessee. But going through here, cold mornings. This is highest Tuesday. The colder air situates itself a little bit more east. Cold morning, Wednesday morning, you got 20s, 30s, widespread freezes. We have still not got below freezing at my house in Lexington, South Carolina. We didn't even get really close last night like I thought we would. But this is some pretty chilly air for the Northeast. The whole entire Northeast is froze up Wednesday morning. Nothing too crazy. We've seen a lot colder Thanksgiving, so that's still some chilly air. And then another chilly day Wednesday. It was looking like Wednesday was going to look a little bit warmer than this across the eastern U.S. And there is moderating temperatures in Texas and Louisiana. But as far as areas east, still looks chilly. And then Thursday morning for our Thanksgiving morning, if we're looking at the European and taking it as if it was going to happen, which, we're getting in pretty much into the close to the medium range and a lot more closer range where this is a little bit more reliable. There's still cold air influence from the cold front that just moved through as high pressure is still influencing some cold air from the northeast still into the Carolinas and Georgia. So it's still a very chilly Thanksgiving morning for areas of the southeast Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia. And then highs not looking quite widespread as warm in the south, like I said in the beginning of the video, as maybe we initially thought. It looks to be basically an average Thanksgiving temperature-wise day. Now, it's going to be brutally cold for areas of the Midwest out here as another cold front is moving through. This cold front really wasn't showing up a few days ago or several days ago. It's really kind of showed itself the last several days, the last 2 days, I would say. But we're getting into Black Friday. which is next Friday. And this is a pretty chilly morning for anybody who's going to brave the elements in Black Friday shop across the basically the South Central U.S. and the Ohio Valley, especially western areas of Ohio Valley, the Midwest. And very chilly air as a reinforcing shot of cold air moves through, and just a cold day in general for your Black Friday. Very, very chilly. This is potential highs for Friday, next Friday. So we're trending colder for late next week in general, almost just as cold as this cold shot coming early this week. It looks quite chilly for next weekend also. So, excuse me. It's something we got to watch. The GFS is kind of going that way too. GFS really isn't even that impressive with the early shot of cold air next week now. As this is just as you know, you look at Tuesday morning, this was showing sub-freezing temperatures all the way into South Georgia. Now, not really the case. Still looks very chilly Tuesday and very chilly Wednesday morning, and decently chilly across Thanksgiving morning, but definitely not as cold as the European. But just like the European, the GFS model is showing another shot of cold air, which would make for a pretty chilly weekend, but not as chilly as the European. The European is much colder with this next shot of cold air. And as you look at temperature anomalies just in general, after your brief warm-up early next week, that cool down comes, the Arctic air comes. I think by now most of y'all know that the greens and reds are below average temperatures, and then the reds and oranges is above average temperatures. If you want to know what this is compared to average, look at this graph here. So this is, the greens are a few degrees, 5, 6, 7 degrees below average, and really the below average temperatures stick around. It might be quickly replaced late next week, but then another reinforcing shot of cool air comes. So it looks like through the rest of the month, and you might have a day or two sprinkled in there where you have average temperatures, but for the rest of the month, especially the eastern U.S., the East Coast in general, Florida, that includes you too, it's going to be cooler than normal. Now we got to watch at the end of the run, as we're getting into the first few days of December, I think are going to be mild. I think a lot of signs are pointing to that, and I'll show you this here. Here comes our quick digging trough that moves through. This is heights and anomalies, so it kind of shows us ridging and troughs. Ridging moves through and out just as quick as the cold front did. Then you have another quick moving cold front late next week. This is the EPS ensembles, which isn't quite as strong with that cold front as the operational one. What's interesting here is if you can get this cutoff low to kind of inject into this pattern right here, or this flow right here, they might can link up, and this could be a bigger storm system with cold air. But this cutoff low is just kind of trapped way down here, and you need this to get out of Mexico and to really interact with this piece of energy here to get a big time storm. But I think after late next week, this gets pretty far out past 10 days. I think you begin to lose the cold pattern. But what's interesting here is in the real long range, we'll back it up here. Notice right here, you're getting troughing in the Alaska. When you got that, you're just not going to get very cold. But at the very end of the run, you start to lose the troughing in Alaska, and then it might start to get replaced with ridging. This would bring more of a cross-polar flow in and more cold air. But we'll see. That's so far out. But in the meantime, the 26th to the 30th, 6 to 10 day range, below average temperatures. The 8 to 14 day range, near normal to below average temperatures. Basically wherever you see you are on the map, wherever you see yourself on the map, that's where you are. This runs from 28th to the 4th of December. And I think this matches up well with the EPS ensembles. Very, very well, actually. And it makes sense. So I think we're going to warm up the first few days, maybe the first week of December. After that, that's too far out. It really is. But that's pretty much all I got, guys. That video went way longer than I initially planned it to. But interesting times ahead. The cold season's ahead. I appreciate the growth over the last week. It's awesome. It's awesome to finally. Things have been really slow for nearly 2 months. So it's great to have some winter weather to talk about. But that's all I got, guys. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Try to get y'all a video around this time tomorrow afternoon. God bless everybody. Stay safe.